Awesome. Well, I'll be on the lookout for more folks popping into the waiting room. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for showing up. I hope everybody's had a great week. And I guess we are wrapping up the first month, 1/12 of 2021. It's getting ready to be in our rear view mirror as well. There's a lot we could say about that. I don't know if the year's picked a direction, as we talked about last week, as far as the markets go. We'll do some quick introductions. We've got a special guest today as well. So we'll do some quick introductions and then we'll get into our normal stuff. And then we'll turn it over to our special guest. I think most of you folks know him anyway, but we'll still do the introductions for those who don't or those who watch this after the fact. My name's Kirk Brewer. I'm the branch manager at Finance of America Mortgage, and love having you guys here. And let me have my partner in crime, Shane, introduce himself as well.
And I hope you all know me. My name is Shane Sauer. I'm sales manager here at Greystone Title Agency. Super pleasure to be here on this fine Friday. Hey, it's not raining. That's a good thing. Yep. Right? Mike got out of the snow.
Yes.
Buried in the snow.
Yeah, I guess they got dumped on pretty bad.
Over 40 inches.
Yeah, that's a good thing if you're a skier.
Yeah.
Or a snowboarder.
The grandkids love sledding, so it was great.
Awesome. Well, and our special guest this week is Mike Abel. He's with us periodically, and every time he is, there's a wealth of knowledge that we get to learn from Mike. And this week's not going to be any different. I think we got a really interesting topic to discuss this week regarding the NAR and social media and just things that you can say in their code of ethics. And I guess they've made some revisions to that. So this is going to be really interesting. I'll be real quick on my portion of things. I always like to keep you guys updated on where the market is from a mortgage perspective and interest rates. Quite frankly, I probably don't need to show you anything and share my screen, because while there's been a lot of action in the bond markets and mortgage-backed securities markets, and the volatility is spiking, the market hasn't picked a direction yet. Mortgage rates are pretty much right back where they were last Friday. We saw the bond market spike, and then we saw it turn around and come right back down. And so volatility is all over the place. And I don't know if anybody has been following this whole GameStop fiasco and short squeeze that's been taking place there. But that's an interesting side note as well. And I think it's just indicative of the overall market and what we're seeing. But I will share my screen real quick, just to refresh your memory of where we are at with interest rates. And we'll keep moving here, because I want to get things moving over to Mike. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. So this is our website, loangeeks.com. We have a wealth of information here regarding refinances, home purchases, a lot of information for your buyers if you just want to send them here and help them educate themselves. If you've got, say, a first-time home buyer, pardon me, I just jumped screens there. If you click on the rate link, because I just changed screens to the rate page, this is what you're going to see. This is our rate page. I update the rates here at least once a day, Monday through Friday. So if you just want a place where you can go see what real rates are, this would be a great reference for you, just to keep you up to speed and see how rates are trending. Let's hit it real quick. On the 15-year fixed conventional for a well-qualified borrower, we are at 2.375. It's just amazing every time I talk to you guys about these rates, where they're at. Literally, we're less than 2.5% on a 15-year fixed. So if you guys are considering refinancing, a 15-year might be worthwhile and get that interest rate way down. Also on our 30-year fixed, and real quick, I got a couple people that just popped into the waiting room. Forgive me. I want to get them in. On our 30-year fixed, we are still under 3% at 2.875. We were inching up right towards 3%, and we've come back down there. Again, the markets are kind of bouncing back and forth down here at these lows, and it's going to be interesting to see the direction. On our government loans, those have settled back out since the CARES Act and the premium pricing was built into those. Both our FHA and VHA are running at 2.75%. No points added on top of those programs, customary funding fees, an MIP on the FHA and the VA funding fee on that program. And those have ticked up just a little bit. Again, we're right back where we were last week. We're on 3 1/8 on a jumbo, which that's not bad. But typically that's going to be mirroring the 30-year fixed conventional, but there's a little bit of premium pricing built into there with the volatility in the markets right now. So things are great. Get your buyers buying, get them off the fence, get them in there fighting the good fight on this low inventory situation, getting their offers in. But they should definitely be taking advantage of these rates while they can. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Shane so he can bring you guys up to speed on how things are trending in our market as far as inventory.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll get into a couple things here. Let's talk about this guy real quick. And for those that have been on before, you kind of know what this is. It's our Altos report. If you're not getting this, like I've said over and over again, if you're not getting these reports, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to set you up with this. This is Chandler in a nutshell. Last week in Chandler, median list price, rent. You can see a little buyer-seller index on here. Some really neat stuff to play with. You know, you've got a little interactive graph here. This is what came on the market last week, what's sold in Chandler. But I want to not spend as much time on this thing, although this is a great tool. You can search on it, you can share it on Facebook, or you can email it to clients or whatever, and you can get any city or zip code in Arizona. No matter where you're marketing, this can be honed down, and you know, you can use it for new listings or with buyers, or even put it out at an open house if you'd like. There are open houses out there. But I want to kind of get into this, and hopefully this, Kirk, can you see this Valley thing? Did it come up okay?
It just came up now. Yep.
Okay. Yep. I'm still learning about Zoom. It's amazing. We've been doing this for almost a year, and I'm still learning. It's great. But here's this little thing that I've called out of all those Altos reports that come. You know, I get these things on Monday mornings. They pop into my inbox, and I put this thing together. The Altos report you just saw, that little market update, that goes out on Wednesdays to agents. But this thing I send out to some agents on Mondays. I've got a distribution list that I kind of send this thing out to. And what I noticed, that I've been doing this thing since September. So every Monday I put this together. It kind of gives you an overall view of what's going on in the Valley. And then outside the Valley, the second home destinations up north, and I'll flag it all the way through the White Mountains and down in the Pine Top Lakeside. But kind of some interesting stuff in here. What I really noticed this week was this is slowed down. We were seeing some huge losses in inventory. I mean, you know, and it really, this week I really noticed, I mean, the highest one here was a -15. That was in Scottsdale, which has been going crazy the past few months anyways. I mean, people are moving to Scottsdale, moving into Scottsdale, or Scottsdale is a destination, which has always been, I guess, you know, but it really, everything has kind of backed off just a little bit this past week. It was interesting when I started putting this together, because I was going down, and we've had some modest gains, and some very modest gains in some areas, but more than I've seen in the past few weeks. So and the negatives haven't been as negative. So I don't know if it's the political unrest that we've been seeing. I don't know what it is that has caused, and you know, we've seen it even on the title company too. I mean, it's been a little more quiet these past couple weeks, which, you know, there's been a lot going on. Let's go with that, you know, in Washington and whatever. So I don't know if the one hand washes the other with that. Even up north, the same thing, really. Not much changes up there. Prices have been kind of stabilized a little bit. No huge gains. I mean, yeah, Fountain Hills, but this is very volatile. It's a 7-day median, so it's very volatile. So you're going to see big jumps like this, but altogether, not a whole lot of much going on last week. You know, we saw, you know, even the market index, they've been kind of creeping up here in the Valley, more towards the seller side, but that stands to reason. So, and negatives down here outside the Valley, but interesting that way. So going more down towards the buyer side. But yeah, I'm curious to see what this brings. I mean, if this is the start of something, or if this is just an aberration, and next week, when I run these on Monday, we'll be back to what I've been seeing the past few weeks. It's going to be interesting to see how this rolls out. But still, price is high, as you know. Some of these areas just going bonkers. But yeah, kind of a weird, quiet-ish.
Yeah. Well, while you still have that up, Shane, a couple comments I'd like to make, just kind of looking at the data. In that second column where it's talking about the previous week, I'd probably point out to everybody, if that column was filled with zeros, what that would mean is the low inventory is staying right where it's at. It's not getting any lower, but it's not increasing. Okay, that would just mean that now buyers are taking exactly the number of listings that are coming on, but there aren't extra listings coming on and inventory is increasing. So for the most part, those numbers are still in the red with a few exceptions there. So it's still going down, but the inventory is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. It can't, I guess theoretically, it could go to zero. It's probably not. But just point out, if that column was all zeros, we're at a steady state at low inventory.
Yeah.
So just kind of be mindful of what those numbers are telling you.
Yeah.
It's amazing how low the inventory is right now. I think we're literally like between a week and 10 days. I don't think we've historically seen it that low, at least in my lifetime. I've been doing this 20 years.
It's insanity. But it did look like last week, like the brakes were pumped just a little bit, because we've been in more of a free fall as far as inventory. It kind of, yes, it's still going down, but last week didn't go down as much as it had been going down. So it looked like the brakes got pumped just a little bit, which I guess is a good thing for buyers. I mean, so, we'll see if this is something of a sign of things to come or what. I know with the new regime in Washington, and then people just on the fence, and I've heard that from a couple of agents, that buyers are, unsure all of a sudden. And, I'm like, yikes, we want buyers to be sure. I mean, rates are still fantastic. So it's a great time to buy. If you can find a place to buy, it's a great time to buy.
Well, one of the things I read this week regarding inventory is that unbuilt new home purchases, the purchases of new homes that aren't yet built, i.e. specs or just build to suits that haven't been built yet, is the highest it's been in years. So because the lack of inventory, people are buying unbuilt homes even further out. So that's only going to exacerbate the problem if the builders keep getting further and further behind, and we keep seeing the existing resale inventory shrinking, even if it's shrinking by 1 unit a week, per your report. Mm-hmm. It's already low and it's still shrinking. So it's going to be interesting as we continue to trend that data as we really start getting in, because let's face it, it's January, right? The year's just, it's young.
Yeah.
As we start getting really into the first quarter, and policy decisions of the new administration start to take shape, and people start feeling and moving based on how they're feeling. So it's going to be really interesting for these next couple months.
I mean, our busy season really starts in March, to be honest, March, April, May, so we'll see where that goes then. But I want to give Mike plenty of time today. So here's the gist of why Mike's here today. And I'll tell you, so the past few weeks, I've talked to a number of agents about some of the new changes of Article 10 of the NAR Code of Ethics regarding pretty much harassing and hate speech and all this stuff. And I've talked to agents who are upset about that, because now they can't, people have shared things on Facebook and they've been called out on it and reported and all this other stuff. So I brought it up to Mike, and I wanted to get Mike in here today to kind of give us his view, as Mike is at Greystone Title, he's our vice president and corporate counsel. So this is coming from a good place. And as you know, most of you have been to Mike's classes, hopefully more than once, but I'm going to turn it over to Mike and let him expound upon this, because this will be fun. Get ready.
It may be fun. How everybody? Hello there. Hopefully you've been paying attention to this, because was delinquent and I didn't, until Shane was saying, did you hear? And then I went ahead and started looking up what NAR is doing. And my comment to them both today was they jumped the proverbial shark. NAR has jumped the shark beyond belief, in my opinion. Those of you who know me know that I also am, very open-minded and everything, and believe everybody has a right to whatever they want to believe. It's not my belief to shut you up, but evidently that's become NAR's. And one of the things they did in this new wokeness is they went ahead and changed our ethics and standard procedures. And what it was saying is they ended up changing our SOP 10.5 that says realtors must not use harassing speech, hate speech, epithets, or slurs based on race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familiar status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Doesn't seem controversial. Yes, it does. But if you got to really take the policy and go forward with this to see what they can do, that's not near as bad as the next thing they changed. Because what they changed was in our code of ethics is section 29. And the way that they changed is it used to say, while realtors are encouraged to follow the principles of the code of ethics in all their activities as realtors, they shall be subject to disciplinary action under the code of ethics only with respect to real estate related and their activities and transactions involving the realtor. So it says, you know what, the code of ethics applies to you while you're doing your profession. You're helping somebody. Yes, we all know we're not going to go out and say racist things or hateful things to our clients and the other people because we're acting as a realtor and we're going to do that. We're going to be respectful. At least most everybody is. They decided that was not enough. They took that paragraph and they edited it way down. Now it says a realtor shall be subject to disciplinary action. So they said not during real estate, not you should abide by, but no, you're subject to disciplinary action under the code of ethics, respect to all of their activity. Not while you're in real estate, it's all your activity. It covers absolutely everything you do now, no matter what time of day. They say they can fine you up to $15,000 and suspend you permanently from the association. What does that mean? Somebody tell me that means what happens to you if they suspend you from NAR?
You're toast.
You are toast. You have no access to the MLS. You cannot do anything. Maybe I think that this is going to end up going into the class action lawsuit to prove that they are basically a monopoly. Yeah, that needs to be busted up. And there's something got to happen with this. It covers written or spoken comments, whether online, offline, in person, in private, whether it's live or recorded or not. You can be at the bar talking to some of your friends and somebody decides to start filming you and you say something that offends them. They can turn you in, even though it was a private conversation, because you uttered that disrespectful word. Maybe you talked about or told an off-color joke. You can be fined and expelled from the association at this time. And what really bothers me about this is nobody took part in this discussion. This went to the standard of code of ethics, head chairs and everything. They had a meeting about this. No public meetings whatsoever. All private. It went to our board of directors. All private. The change was made without input of agents, without setting it out, asking what the various associations say. It was just changed by the top level of NAR now. And it's, to me, I'm looking at it, I'm going, wait a minute, your opinions don't matter anymore. If you have the audacity to say all lives matter, you are now a racist and can be thrown out of the association.
Well, yeah, where's the subjectivity right? It's completely subjective. One person's offensive statement is.
Yeah, that's the whole problem with it. It's everything that they're doing is based on, and that's what the problem I have as an attorney is, whether it's objectionable or not is based on the person that's complaining, what they believe. Are they offended? Oh my God, we can't offend anybody. Wait a minute, this country was built on offending each other.
I know, right?
I'm sorry, I tell everybody offend me. Well, one, you can't. I've heard everything. I don't care. You know, you can call me any name in the book. I'm going to go ahead and go, okay, fine. It's your opinion. Your opinion doesn't matter to me. So you know what? I'm happy. But I don't believe I should ever, ever, ever be able to shut you up. You know, they talked on here, which I was looking at comments, and they don't know how to answer them because the preacher was asking everything. He says, wait a minute, I believe in traditional marriage. Well, you're homophobic. What? Just because I believe my Christian beliefs, which I'm no longer allowed to have. I can't. Because if I espouse my Christian belief on anything from, you know, traditional marriage, you know, gay sex, whatever it is, I'm canceled by NAR. That is scary. You know, you can't, and they had one of the things talking about you can be complained against and have a charge brought against you if you're not using the proper transgender pronouns now. So you got to start taking out of your vocabulary such things as mother, father, son, daughter, daughter-in-law, boy, girl. They're all gone. We have to say person now.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking to a person. This is my person birth, I guess. I have no clue. Because how dare you, they said, misgendering somebody. Now, I'm sorry, if I had a nickel for every gender there was, I would have 10 cents. That's my belief. I don't care who I offend with it.
Yeah.
You know, because I believe in science. Hey, they always tell us believe in science. Okay, I look at what the science shows with chromosomes. There's 2 types. XY and, you know, X or YX or whatever it is. There's 2.
Yeah.
There's 2. So whatever I take and I go see how you feel is something different, but it doesn't change your sex. But that you're not allowed to do anymore. Anything. You know, and God forbid they were talking about one thing you better erase from your mind right now, erase from your vocabulary, is they said nobody is illegal. So if somebody crosses our border without permission, breaking our law, and you have the audacity to call them an illegal alien, you're in trouble. Can't do that anymore. So on your private Facebook that you've limited to only your friends, that you say, I really think we need to stop all these illegal aliens from coming in. One of your friends gets mad at you, screenshots it, sent to NAR, you're in trouble, or you can be in trouble. I don't know if that scares anybody out there. It scares the daylights out of me. Like I said with Christians, you disagree with marital gay sex, you're done. Abortion, I'm sorry, you are the sinner, not them. You know, gender and sexuality are now free because you who believe in the Bible don't have a right to question that. You know, in NAR, when they formulated this, they were saying, you know, we apologize for NAR's, this is quotes from them. We apologize for NAR's historic role in housing discrimination and redlining. Realtors are the leading participants. So you guys, our realtors, are in the leading participation of racism in the 20th century. You guys are perpetuating racism because you're a realtor. And that was from Matt DeFenis, chair of the NAR Professional Standards Committee. That's our chair of the Professional Standards Committee. Scares the heck out of me. Brokers have to worry because, you know, as a broker, any of you that are brokers out there, if your agents get charged, if they can link it back any way to show that the broker should have been policing the activity, the broker can also be put on, you know, put up for penalties. So if the broker hears somebody saying, man, your guy was going off at the bar last night, and they don't pull in that agent and say, you can't say those things, but that's what I believe. It doesn't matter what you believe. The NAR police are out there. You as the broker can be put up on charges, fined, and possibly suspended. I mean, that's why they had on there, they were talking to a broker that, they received a complaint. I was reading one article. I read like 100 articles on this thing. A broker is saying, that's why he fired somebody, because he got a complaint they used off-color language outside the real estate world, outside anything, but there were complaints coming in. And he said, I couldn't risk my business. So I really liked the agent, but I had to terminate him for that. And now the agent, because of it's having a hard time getting on with other brokers that they're big because, we can't take that risk either. They say it's only going to be penalizing if it's weaponized. That's the speech they tried to say, we don't know what we're doing yet, but we're only going to do it if it's weaponized speech. But what the hell is weaponized speech?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. They don't like it. Yes, I was just like my liberties messed with. I don't either. I mean, we're going to have to do, as an industry, somehow we have to speak back to NAR in this political correct BS. Sorry if I offend anybody, but that's what I said. I offend. I don't care. We got to stop canceling each other. We got to stop this movement to say, I disagree with you, so you don't have a right to speak. We want to unify as long as you only believe what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we can't do. Now, our PAC has been throwing us under the bus for years. That's why I stopped giving. I'll tell you right now, I used to advocate, and I was a big advocator for years to go ahead and let people know that we support them, they're doing good for us. But we need to go ahead and do something. Somebody said, what can we do? We need to let other realtors know this. Send them over to the link of this recording and everything. They can hear what I'm saying, that we have to be afraid of this. I'm reading articles where NAR is trying to say, well, just let it work out. You let it work out. You have not given us any guidance on what you say. And then you go ahead and tell us that our opinions don't matter because if we offend somebody in our private lives, we can be fine. I'm hoping the courts will step in some, because they tried to do this in Pennsylvania with attorneys. And the court came in, Supreme Court governs all attorneys, and they threw it out. They said, you can't do that. Attorneys are there to advocate. So we have a little exemption maybe, but I think they're going to keep trying. But, that's something we have to do. We have to educate our members. We have to have them write in and say, listen, you guys have to stop. We will not be canceled anymore. Because I could see them policing on your business Facebook page if you have one. I got rid of Facebook. Sorry, got rid of Facebook. Told Twitter to kiss my tush. Tired of them selling all my stuff. I'm tired of them blocking me and putting labels on stuff, on my opinions. But you have to fight back. I could see it on pages like that to where if you say, I will only help this, type of person, color, gender, whatever. Oh yeah, you deserve to be kicked out. No, right. Blatant.
Yeah.
In your personal opinion, if you say, I'm sorry, like I would say outright, I'm sorry, I believe in two sexes. I believe that if you think you're a refrigerator, God bless you, but I don't recognize that. That gets me thrown out. That's baloney on my private page, everything else, you can't do that. And that's what disturbed me when I read this. We have to write to them. We have to, try to speak up, educate other realtors, get people involved to say, no, we're done. Start with your local board saying, what the heck is this? Are you going to enforce this? This is ridiculous. On my personal page, you're going to do this? Nada, not going to do this. Now they'll tell you, no, we won't do that. Wait till people, because this is what happens now, and think about it. You had, and I use the My Pillow guy. Everyone knows My Pillow guy. He got thrown off of Twitter. He's now banned for Twitter. And they said it was because, he was tweeting falsehoods about the election and stuff. Well, everybody's allowed to have an opinion. I don't care which way you think it is.
Yeah.
I know how I feel and believe. So that means I would get kicked off of Twitter and stuff like that. But that's not the tweet that got him kicked off. And this is where our cancel culture comes in. I was listening to him and he got kicked off the same day he put on pictures of, you remember all the National Guardsmen that had to sleep in the things?
In the garage, yeah.
In the garage. He diverted several of his distribution trucks to those locations and tried to give them pillows and stuff because he heard about it because of being involved with the administration. They refused to allow them to go in. So he tweeted out the picture saying, "What is this? We're trying to support it." They cut his account. Totally banned. And that's done by just a few people, because that's what happens. You get canceled because you have the vast minority of people being so loud that the companies freak out and think it's this mass, and it's not. I've been hearing rumors with some big brokerages I've been talking to, so they're a little bit more than rumors, that they are preliminary discussing possibly starting their own MLSs. I think it needs to happen. I think we need to split up NAR with different associations that you could belong to according to what you want. And that way we have a choice. If NAR wants to say you can only be this way and be woke with us, then fine, you can have all the members you want. But what we need to do is start another path. We need to get something else out there, because they jumped the shark in this one. I did not think that they would be going this far in our industry, but they are deathly afraid. And I like the comment of the one Aaron guy that did all this. He said, well, if anybody wants to be a hateful, bigot, racist, then you don't need to be in our group. It's not about that. None of us are hateful, bigots, racists. I think that there's this much of our communities anymore, individuals are that way. But you want to paint us all with this big brush. And because we don't agree with your line of thinking, we can be canceled. Right? You know what? I refuse to be canceled. I tell everybody, and Shane, we've joked about it before, is somebody doesn't like me, I'm not your cup of tea, fine. Don't listen to me. Don't patronize me. Don't give me business. Don't care. Because I'm never going to stop speaking what I believe. And if I offend, okay, I hope you go ahead and say, hey, great. I teach my ethics class. I tell people I hope to offend you at least once. Because that's what we should do as a society. It's not cussing at somebody, getting in your face, pushing you down. It's trying, we used to debate and convince each other that we were right. Now it's no, we will cancel you because we think you're wrong. And
Well, Mike, how long before this trickles down to other segments of our industry? I mean, the National Mortgage Brokers Association, the Escrow Association, whatever. Where does it end?
It only ends when Americans finally get sick and tired of this taking over our society and we stand up. That's it. I can tell you right now, if the Arizona Bar Association goes down this path, I'll be the first one fighting. I'll go ahead and say, I'll be the guinea pig. Let's go. I don't care. Try to cancel me. Yeah. Because we have to fight back. We have to not let them cancel us anymore. And oh my God, I said fight. I'm sorry if I'm inciting you to violence. Bull. Everybody uses those terms. It's this where we've fallen to in our society just blows my mind. Where we can't talk anymore without having to worry, oh my gosh. And that's why they did this. And you're right, Shane. I think it is coming. I think it's coming to every industry, every place, unless we stop it. And that's why I know my wife, she's bound and determined. She's saying, you know what? There's a lot of stores we're not shopping at anymore. Amazon, I'm trying to buy absolutely everything everywhere else. Yes, it does feel like Twilight Zone. Everywhere but Amazon. When they go ahead and, I'm a big statistics research person. Everybody, if you haven't heard, Parler was something that was coming up to compete with Twitter. And after all this stuff happened with Twitter banning people, Parler, boom, #1 app, the App Store, everything, it was blowing up. Well, because that would hurt the 3 big tech companies, that's when Amazon said, I'm going to deplatform you. And they said they did it because they were inciting violence. The #1 app for terrorism is, does anybody know?
Facebook.
WhatsApp,
Facebook.
actually, which is Facebook.
Oh.
It's
okay.
WhatsApp Then it goes down from, which is Facebook, WhatsApp. Then it goes to Facebook and YouTube. Why aren't they deplatformed? If those are the number, and Twitter's up there. All these are above. Parler isn't even in the process. But they didn't like that there was another voice out there. Let's cancel them, destroy it. You know, that's why my wife says, you know, Amazon, we use you at last resort anymore, which is a shame because, you know, I'm torn with that. Because if you know about Amazon, it gives the little guy a platform to sell their products.
Mhm.
So they're hurting their own people that are the little guys that I really would love to support. But it's like, man, there has to be somebody needs to come up, you know, with another site to compete with Amazon. You know, maybe it'll be the Alibi site, I think it's called, or whatever, from China.
Alibaba.
Yeah, Alibaba. Well, at least, you know, they should come over and compete because there's basically becoming no difference between their government and ours. So, you know, hey, we might as well give to theirs, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just disappointing. Anybody have questions or want to kick in with this? Unmute yourself. Let's talk. I mean, this is something that scares the daylights out of me, and if it scares you, you know, let's talk about it.
Well, I did want to kind of continue on the thread about actions that can be taken, because I think all of us are seeing this happen in various facets, and it's happening fast, and it seems like it's accelerating. So right now, as far as I know, there hasn't been anybody that's had an action actually taken against them for these changes. So I would assume without somebody having fallen prey to NAR's punishment for this, really the only potential productive action would be, like you said, you know, go to your local chapters, write letters, do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then the time that the first guinea pig is created,
Yeah.
NAR goes after somebody, that's when a potential class action lawsuit could take place and people could stand up against it legally. Am I right on that?
Yeah, to a point. The hard part is that whereas, and this is what they've said is, well, you know what? We're a voluntary association.
Yeah,
Right.
if you want to make
So you don't have
living.
to all, you know, and that's what I really am going to, and I haven't checked on the status of our class action lawsuits against NAR in the last 2 months. I've been delinquent. I'm probably going to have to check on them shortly, because if I was those individuals, I would be amending my complaint to include this, to say, you want to see how much of a, you know, big iron fist they do.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they're doing. Now, I'm a voluntary association that if you don't belong to, you really can't be a realtor, because you have to be able to access the MLS. Now, if you say, well, I can search on the public MLSs, yes, you can. How are you going to share commission? Because they're going to say, oh, you have to be a member of that. And then you're going to have to take them to court, because you're going to say, I'm licensed by the state, I'm still a realtor, but you don't belong to the MLS. You have to be an agent that's there, because they have the buy-side commission rules and everything. So, I mean, it's just, they are that 800-pound gorilla that has decided to start smashing their own children. You know, that's my view. And I think they should have, if they wanted to go ahead and become woke, they should have put out a policy statement that during representations, we're not going to tolerate any of this type of, you know, things. But if you offend your client, their recourse should be to fire you. You know, you offend me, I fire you. I've had clients that I fired. They offended me, I fired them. So, you know what, I won't represent you. And that's fine, that's what it is. And you're right, NAR does need some come up, and it's like the hedge funds got. If you don't know what that is, that was our government, though, shutting down you, the peons, the little people, from making money. Everybody know what happened with that? With it was GameStop, AMC theaters and stuff. Well, I'll explain it. This was a brilliant thing. So people like that comment, I love this story. You have a lot of these billionaire hedge funds that want to control all their money, because, you know, you guys don't deserve to have money like the billionaires do. No. Well, they buy what are called short. They short stock. And what they do is they borrow it from somebody and they pay you a little, lease fee sort of, and then they sell it. Well, they have to sell it back to you or put it back into your account. And what they're betting on is they're going to drive down the price. And when they give it back to you, they're going to be able to buy it back and make the difference. They get to make the difference. So they try to drive down the prices. The bets on GameStop, and AMC were huge short sellers, billions and billions and billions of dollars. They knew if they drive it down, it's the average investor that's going to get hurt, because those people that have it, they're going to just see their stock fall, stock fall, stock fall. Eventually they'll sell it, they'll do it, and they'll make their money. Well, a group of small investors got together on Reddit and some other boards and said, wait a minute, look at the short positions on here. We have a chance to make a lot of money if we all band together, the hundreds of thousands of us, and we start driving that stock price up. These short sellers are going to be forced to buy it at the inflated price to give it back to the person they rented the stock from. So what they're going to have to do is buy it. So if we drive up that price, we're going to make a ton of money by driving it up, sort of like they do by driving it down. They ended up getting these hedge funds for close to $4 billion in the last month. That's why our government and E-Trade and all these other things stopped trading on it, because they couldn't let the average person make this money and cost these big guys all this money. So they're just starting to allow it to trade basically under supervision now, which to me just says, wait a minute, we're supposed to be capitalists. We're supposed to be doing this. You just said that all these little people can't have it. And that's what goes back to, yeah, that's what NAR's doing, everything else. Yeah, you guys can't do anything. We got to go ahead and keep you down. So it's terrible. But censorship is alive and well, exactly. And we are what land of the free where. So any other questions, comments, anything that you guys have to say with this, or anything?
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Someone like Russell Shaw better be careful, because he loves to spout out.
Oh yeah.
He's gotten in trouble numerous times. So, did this start this year, January 1st, or when?
Yep. Yep. It was passed. I believe it was passed in November, and they're just coming out with it. There is, Kurt knows, there are just had a few of the cases going up. They said that, trying to deflect it and put blame on your local boards. And the one person I read that it was trying to say, hey, you've got to pressure your local boards, because your local boards are going to be the ones that have to enforce this. And it depends on how much they're worried about that guy up there, of their NAR, who's now acting as God, if they're going to enforce it fully, or how they're going to deem this rule to be mean. I think they have no choice on a lot of aspects when NAR said that it's not limited to your real estate, but it's your activities everywhere.
This is a witch hunt.
This is a witch hunt. It's to purge non-believers from this earth.
That's exactly what it is. Didn't we go through this in World War II? Didn't we see this in another country at one time?
Yeah.
The whole thing smacks of
totalitarianism. Everybody get your brown shirts. Anybody who doesn't know what brown shirts are, go research it.
Well, and I think that the thing that's always ironic, if you look at history of these types of things, is the people who really agree with it, who are actually pushing it, they're all fine and dandy until that policy actually gets them, because they think they're exempt from it, right? And it's them, and they're like, oh no, not me, it's them.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they're against it. And it's like, yeah, that's the power you created. You created a monster that to consume everything in its path.
Oh yeah, and it's only going to get worse. And the whole thing is, you have so many people scared that all the media, everything is driving one narrative. You've never had that before. It is. Yeah. So, that's why you listen to off channels. You get your news by researching, which most people don't. I really love when they say, oh yeah, I've heard it on NBC, CNN, all this stuff. I go, oh my God, have you ever fact checked that stuff? I do. You know, it's just, that's what we're doing. So I really don't know where we're going with this. I'm hoping that somehow we can turn it around. You know, if we don't, we have to learn to live with it, but I'm not going to live with it. They can come after me. I always say, who is John Galt?
Atlas Shrugged reference for any of you who have not read Atlas Shrugged.
Yes, if you have not read Atlas Shrugged, it's a fantastic book. And
it should be high school reading.
Movies.
It truly should be high school reading.
Oh, it should be absolutely mandatory. Yeah. But you can watch the movies if you want to cheat and you find out why. Because the movies are really, they were supposed to come out, and Angelina Jolie was actually supposed to pay Dagny Tagg, who's the lead character, but they pressured her and got it kicked off, and then somebody produced it out of a labor of love. And so the first movie was more high quality. Second, third isn't as much, but they're still really worth watching. You can find them on Netflix and everything else. Mm-hmm. Until they get banned shortly, which I'm sure. So you might want to do it now.
Right. And while they're good, and I've seen every one of them.
Yeah.
Francis Ford Coppola was supposed to do right after The Godfather. He was supposed to do Atlas Shrugged. And
yep.
Ayn Rand was adamant that he not shorten the John Galt speech, and so never happened. She shouldn't have dug her heels in, but none of the movies have ever done the actual novel justice. It's
I agree. The book is much better than the movies. It is a difficult read because it's long but it is well worth the read.
It's an eye opener.
Yeah, it is.
She came from Soviet Russia, just so you know, and then wrote this novel back in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Scary stuff. I heard this was coming down with NAR, and I'm sure it's down on my side on the National Association of Mortgage Bankers and Brokers. My company's already got stuff out there, which the company can do it, right? I'm an employee, and if I don't like what they have, I can go someplace else. But when it starts coming down where it's going to completely eliminate your livelihood, that starts getting really scary.
Oh yeah, it's really scary. And the thing is with the company, which I tell everybody, is a company has a right to do it. Because like you said, you don't have to work there. You can always work somewhere else. But when it's the association, it takes out every place where it is. And I believe a company, they have a harder time when it's off the clock type stuff, but they still can do it because they can say you don't keep up with their brand. Taking somebody totally out of their livelihood because the higher ups say, and what good thing about with your industry, at least, in the mortgage industry, I know I used to be a legal advisory committee chairman or legal advisory committee member on the National Association of Mortgage Brokers, the mortgage bankers, Ohio ones. So I did a lot of stuff with them, but it's a voluntary per company. To originate a mortgage, you don't have to belong to it. And most people didn't belong to it. So they can't put an eat it in to do away because you can still do mortgages and say goodbye. That's not the case with realtors. That's the bad thing. So we'll see which way it goes. Yeah, well, somebody says, it's recorded, Mary. We'll have to upload shortly and you can send out a link. Yes, that's what you need to do. Everybody needs to be aware of what's coming down. And I'm sorry, I saw it too many times when these stuff go down. You're going to hear NAR saying, calm down, folks. We're not going to do it. It's only if it's weaponized and hateful. Okay. Who defines what is offensive?
Exactly.
The people who put this policy in place without consulting with anybody else.
Yeah, and what they're going to weigh is the person that was offended. And if that person who was offended is loud enough, NAR doesn't want to hear it. They're going to say, I can kick out this member. Heck with it. I just don't want all this bad press. And that's what's going to happen with anything. Look how the city has handled violence. It's, oh my gosh, let them rip down everything. Don't take a stand and say it was not the way it happened. I know enough. Sorry, offend again. I just love offending people. There was never a hands up, don't shoot. but yet we allowed the narrative to persist because we do not want to be the one that is viewed as racist. I believe in truth. I see one color in life, I tell people, and that's green. I don't care if you're red, brown, blue, purple. I see green. Make money, I'm happy. And I don't care who you go home with, human or animal, not my business. But
I'm sure somebody's going to be offended in that.
yes, I hope so.
Exactly.
We have a right to offend me. Go ahead. I'll still love you. I always tell everybody, my mentor is a socialist. He's a socialist attorney out of Cleveland, Ohio. He's the most brilliant man I've ever met in law. We can sit down and go at it and talk about this is what I believe, this is what he believes, and have a beer, hug at the end and say, man, I love you, man. Thank you for being there for me. Because that's the way life should be. We can't do that anymore, and it's so sad.
Yeah. Free speech is one of the rights that we fought for. And
exactly.
they're taking it from us. So
slowly
but surely it's going away.
Yep.
Hey, did we happen to videotape this one or tape this one? Because I'd love to send it to my broker or have Mike come and do a class for our brokerage.
I do it. Yeah, he has it taped. He'll be sending out a link. You know what? I could go out and be the guinea pig and offend anybody. So yeah, I'd speak at any brokerage. I don't care because this scares me what NAR is doing. I mean, you cannot put this on everyday activity. And who's going to decide? Give me the written policies of what I'm allowed to say. What words can I say? What words can I not say? I mean, I was reading last night an argument that they're now making that calling somebody a type of dog is racist and homophobic. And I'm going, what if I call somebody a chihuahua? That is, what are you talking about? Well, we have to go ahead and offend everybody so we can control you. So, and wear your mask. No.
Well, I'm a firm believer that shining the light of day on a topic is the best disinfectant.
Yep.
So everybody, this is recorded. It's a huge topic that I think everybody needs to be aware of, regardless of where you fall on the spectrum of free speech and certain topics. So we will get it out. It'll be available. You guys can share the link to it. And then what I'd like to do, Mike, have you back in
whenever you want, because I'm glad to speak out on this anytime. After reading this, I'll tell you, it so upset me. I was ready to go ahead and say, okay, you need to YouTube something, but I don't have the platform to try to get it out, just to say, listen, realtors, you need to stand up. Your association has went too far. But what they are banking on, and that's what the one guy said, they are banking on, you guys are going to be too afraid to do it because they're going to turn the tables on you and say, what, you want to be a homophobe racist? Is that why you want to fight this? I can't believe it. How can we support this realtor that wants to be a homophobic racist? Oh, not sensitive or woke enough.
I think the argument is we want the right to be homophobic bigots.
Yes.
We want to be homophobic bigots, but we want the right to be. The right to be in our Constitution.
And who decides? That's my problem.
And our customers can cancel us.
Yeah. Yeah. I find it funny because, sorry, I'm going to get you in trouble again. Marriage, everybody freaks out about marriage. I don't believe in government marriage. Even though me and my wife are and everything, what right does the government have to say they give you permission to do anything like that? So I really don't think we should be in that business. And that shouldn't have ever been an argument. It should have been just, no, I'm sorry. My dad talks about his mom and dad when they got married. There was no license. They signed the Bible at the church as being married, and they were married. Said that's who should determine it. So, oh well, not soapbox, I guess.
You can't talk about religion either. That's another one.
No, you can't. I'm sorry. I'm going to be banned. Since I stopped my membership with them too, they'll never let me back.
It's another association that has their own rules. So.
Yep. So, all right,
awesome.
Kirk.
Hey, has anybody got any additional questions for Mike? It's always a good occasion to have him here. So take advantage if you have any questions. I know this is a great topic. We could probably continue to go on, but feel free if you got more questions.
I think everybody's
just wanna say- No, I just want to say thanks, Mike, for finally sorting out my LLC. It took me like a year and it took you about 5 minutes. So
No problem.
I gotta go. Thanks a lot, guys.
One of Mike's specialties. Thanks, Mary. It's good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that's our cue, I think, to wrap it up, unless anybody's got any more questions on today's topic.
Thank you, everybody. If you do, you got my email addresses, I'm sure. Get old Shane, whatever you need, we'll be there for you. Yeah, I got to jump off too. I see my client came in for my 9:30, so I'm going to have to exit stage left too. So have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks.
Hey, Mike, really appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. And we'll email out the link to this particular meeting. We don't do that every week, even though they're all recorded and up on my YouTube channel. It's called The Loan Geeks, all one word, The Loan Geeks. You can find it on YouTube, but we'll get the link out to this one for you guys as well. All right. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.